It's 6 o'clock on Tuesday, the 14th of January, 2020. Good evening and thank you for tuning in to the English edition of Ora News. My name is Christopher, bringing you the only update of the local Albanian news, translated into English. The leader of the Democratic Party, Luzim Basha, gathered in Blue Headquarters allies for electoral reform today. At the conclusion of the meeting, Basha accused the majority of stalling the reform. Since October, the United Opposition has insisted on a comprehensive and transparent mechanism to complete the electoral reform that precedes free and fair elections. 4 months have passed and the process has been delayed as a sign of unwillingness from the other party, Basha said. The opposition reconfirms its October stance on the reform and has mandated Ord Bulukbashi and Petrit Vasili to discuss this with the other party. The opposition confirms its stance on launching and ending the electoral reform an hour earlier and mandates Ord Bulukbashi and Petri Vasili to agree on the mechanism for moving forward with the adoption of electoral reform while abiding by all points raised in October. Basha reiterated the three non-negotiable conditions for electoral reform, being the adoption of electoral reform in a transparent, inclusive, consensual way among political parties, the drafting and discussing reform outside of Parliament at the political party table, and the approval by the committee and Parliament of the consensual result of the political table without amendment. On changing the system, he left the door open for proposals. The opposition leader said the solution for the political crisis comes only through holding general elections in one day before 2021. Meanwhile, at 1300 p.m., a roundtable will be held, attended by Damian Jignuri from the Socialist Party, Ord Bulukbashi from the Democratic Party, Rudina Haidari, representative of parliamentary opposition, and Petri Vasili from the Socialist Movement for Integration. At the conclusion of the meeting between representatives of all parties, there will be statements for the media. Electoral reform should be completed no later than March 15th this year. This is the conclusion reached at today's meeting by representatives of the parliamentary and political majority and opposition. The Socialist Party was represented by Damian Jignuri, the Democratic Party by Ord Bulukbashi, the parliamentary opposition by Rudina Haidari, and the Socialist Movement for Integration by Petrit Vasili. On the table also agreed on the establishment of a political council with representatives from the opposition leaders, from the Reform Commission, and representatives from parliamentary groups in the Assembly. The council will meet this month to authorize the electoral reform process work form. After the November 26 earthquake, the challenge for Albania is not reconstructing, but also tourism development in the affected areas. At the tourism summit attended by representatives of the countries in the region, Minister Blendi Kosi made a bold statement when he said that Durrës would be ready to hold millions of tourists this summer. The most important tourist area in this country is intact and following a successful process for the next year and next tourist season to receive millions more foreign tourists again, Blendi Kosi said. According to the minister, Albania showed in November that the tourism industry is not only a catalyst for economic development, but also an important contributor during humanitarian crises. Thousands of families, amid the horror of losing their roof over their heads and the fear of the earth shaking beneath their feet, found doors open and the welcoming hand of Albanian hotel accommodation structures. The countries of the region expressed their readiness to assist Albania in the reconstruction process. Greece was not represented at the ministerial level, but the Greek ambassador to Tirana showed how tourism in her country helped Greece emerge from the economic crisis. The children of the Borezana in Kruja are learning their ABCs in a gym adapted as a classroom, as the village school was damaged by the earthquake and will soon be demolished. The conditions of the school are not at all appropriate. Low temperatures have added to the difficulty these days for students, as the 2 electric heaters in the sports gymnasium are not sufficient to warm up the makeshift classrooms, pupils' red cheeks and hands being a clear indication of this lack of warmth. For this reason, it is suspected that media are not welcome into this environment. How could they put children here without prior parental notice, one parent commented. Parents are concerned not only about the quality of teaching, but about the health of their children. Over 600 students from grades 2 to 3 attend school in Thumana. Buses take them around noon from their houses and return them to their houses around 3 o'clock. Under these conditions, the students say that the teaching process is conducted in a short few hours. Borizan High School was reconstructed just a few years ago with a fund of 85 million Albanian lek. But the building did not resist the November 26th earthquake, the Red Cross indicating it is set to collapse. Until the construction of a new school, it seems that the Borezane students will not have all the conditions required for the normal teaching environment. The southeastern mist and post-snow frost in Dieber created an extra risk of accidents for drivers. Police in Korça have increased patrols on national roads, while in Dieber, they say they have been salting to avoid ice on the roads. This was Korça's look this Tuesday. Heavy fog had covered almost the entire southeast region. As the footage in the video shows, visibility was limited for drivers and pedestrians. There was a higher risk on national roads due to the large number of vehicles moving. So as a precautionary measure for accidents, the road police added patrols to these areas. The phenomenon included Korça 2 days later after Sunday's snowfall and improved meteorological conditions. But on the other hand, this picture is also a consequence of the high pollution from the use of wood for heating. All roads in the meantime are reported to be circulating smoothly, including those towards the tourist areas of Darda and Voskopoja. Traffic usually flows well along the roads of Dibra district, where heavy snowfall was recorded on the weekend. But due to low temperatures, the danger there is created from quick sweeping frost and the appearance of ice. Authorities say maintenance companies have laid out salt along the roads to help avoid any risk. And the Supreme Audit of the state has concluded that the use of fiscal cash registers has had a weak impact on the increase of tax revenues. Through a report for the period of 2010 to 2018, the SSA notes that even the average share of added value tax has decreased by 6%. The use of fiscal cash registers by businesses did not have the expected impact on the increase of tax revenues. The Supreme Audit of the state has published a report suggesting that despite the 46 million euros spent on cash register acquisition by businesses themselves, the initiative had not led to an improvement in internal tax revenue or profit tax. The government's latest initiative to modernize the tax monitoring system, the Supreme State Audit, is seen as dangerous, pointing out that some of the risks for businesses include their mandate for businesses to replace their cash registers despite their desire. The anti-informality action taken by the government, which initiated heavy fines until bankrupting businesses in cases of non-disclosure of income, is seen as ineffective in reducing tax evasion or increasing revenues in the state budget. The report said the action focused more on the technical aspects of cash registers and increased punitive measures for businesses, but did not bring the expected benefit. Even the SAI concluded that compared to 2019, in the last 8 years, there has been a decrease of 6% in the average share of value-added tax collected by taxes. Also, in the report, it is concluded that 3/4 of fiscal cash registers are located in small businesses, while for the period of 2017 to 2018, the reported turnover by businesses has increased, but the average reporting on issued coupons has decreased. For this reason, the SIA says there are no clear objectives from the institutions for the benefit that this system should bring, and it did not set concrete tasks for managing and monitoring the progress of the fiscal cash register system. The SIA concludes the report by stressing that the lack of a successful model for reducing tax evasion, coupled with the effective implementation of widespread and visible fiscal cash registers, will continue to hinder significant improvements in revenue growth for the future. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join us again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Ora News, thank you and good night.